Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be another one with my career counselor hat on, and we are going to be talking about 10 tips and tricks for acing an interview. So if you have an interview coming up, or you're expecting one, or you just want to prepare for the future, then just keep watching and let's get into it. The first tip for this video is to do your research. So before you go into a company or a business, whatever it may be, make sure you know their mission, their values, what they're all about, so you can go on their social media or their website. But make sure you have some background information, because they may be asking you, what do you know about our office, or what do you know about our overall company? And then also make sure that you're doing your research on the position, because they could ask you, what do you know about the position? How do you feel about the different tasks? Very position focused questions, so make sure you're doing your research before actually going into the interview. Also, before you're going in, make sure you practice. So if you're in college, go to your career center, do a mock interview. And if you're not, find a friend or a family member or an online service or whatever it may be, but make sure you're practicing. That way when you go into the interview, you have concrete examples. They're gonna ask you questions like, tell me about a time when you had to do a project from start to finish. What did that look like? Oh, Bramley wants to talk about interviews. Or they could ask you, tell me about a time that you had a disagreement with a coworker. How did you handle that? So make sure you're practicing these sample questions that you can find millions of online. That way you're not like, I have no idea. So make sure you are practicing, which is tip number 2. My third tip is going to be dressing for success. And I know everyone's going to tell you this. You know you have to dress nice, but I do a lot of mock interviews at my job, and students will come in with like black jeans and a long sleeve t-shirt, that kind of thing. That's not that nice. Make sure you're dressing with black or gray or navy, kind of more of a neutral solid color, or spice it up with a blazer. I love wearing this striped blazer. You can get super affordable options at like Walmart, but make sure you're dressing for success. You can go on Pinterest for ideas. You know, just make sure you're dressing nicely. But with dressing nicely, make sure you're not dousing yourself in perfume or cologne. We have students come in that I have to keep the door open because I'm coughing or I get a headache from the scent. So make sure you're not going over the top with your scents. Okay, what else do I have here? Number 4, make sure that you're showing up early. Yes, being on time is nice, but you want to show them that you're prepared. So a lot of times people will say go in 10 minutes early, but I always go in 15. Yes, you're gonna have to sit there for a little bit, but then you have time to breathe and think about your examples, get your resumes together. So make sure you're showing up early, because that shows that you got it together. Fake it till you make it. The 5th interview tip, and I know these are all like the beginning of the interview or before, but make sure you have a strong handshake. Don't go in there, and my students always laugh at me because I always give them example of like your hand just falling. You know people who do this. They just go in for a handshake and like let their hand hang there. Nope. Show them that you mean business and do a nice strong handshake. Even if you're a female, or if you're a male shaking a female's hand, have a strong handshake. Super important. And the next one, number 6, is prepare for the tell me about yourself question. You know that every employer is going to ask you this question, so prepare for it. We call it your 30-second commercial or your elevator pitch, because you want to be able to do it in that short amount of time. Don't go into personal things. I would love to hear about your animals, but don't tell me about that. I want to know about you. Who are you? What are you majoring in? What experience do you have? What goals do you have? And how does this position, whatever you're applying for, relate to that goal? That's it. 30 seconds, done. Don't tell me about your life and your personal stuff that's going on. Nope, leave that out for a different question if they ask about that, but definitely prepare for that tell me a little bit about yourself question, because usually that's going to be the first one. Okay, Number 7, if you can, relate your skills and experiences to the job position. This is so important for when they're asking you examples or the behavioral questions like, tell me about a time when you had to take leadership or something didn't go as planned. How did you handle that? Make sure when you're saying that, you can use those transferable skills to whatever area or field you're going into, because you really want to sell yourself and make them see how you would fit into that position. And transferable skills, I could like talk about them for an hour, and people know that I have before. But yeah, make sure you're relating it back to the job, because that's going to be crucial for them to see that you have thought about this position, you are going to be a good fit, you are prepared, or you have skills from different areas that are going to help you succeed in that position. Okay, number 8. This is one that I'm going to throw in there, and you're going to roll your eyes, but take a deep breath. Yes, I always tell people, nerves so you care. I start talking fast, which I do in my videos, but take a deep breath in the middle of it before you go in. If you have a bathroom break or they're talking and answering your questions, take a deep breath. Let them see that you're okay, you're confident, and I always say fake it till you make it. But it's not going to be the end of the world if you don't get this position. And calming yourself down is going to help you think more clear-mindedly and be able to succeed in the interview more so. So whatever you're doing, just make sure you take a deep breath. And for those of you who are still watching, do that now. Take a huge deep breath. It makes a huge difference. Number 9. I know you've probably heard this one a lot too, but make sure you're asking a lot of, not a lot, 3 to 4 questions at the end. This shows that you're interested in the position. If you don't ask questions, they're going to be like, meh, they're not that interested. Ask questions. If you need to, bring in a piece of paper with your questions written down and just say, yeah, I actually have a list of questions. Let me pull that out. Write a few extra ones, because by the time you get to the question portion, you might have already asked all of your questions. So have some prepared. You can find a ton of these online as well, but you can ask what a day-to-day is like in this position, what the mission and environment of the office is. It's so hard to give you examples because it depends what field you're going into. But ask about structure, and you can ask a timeline. Ask their favorite part of their job, so when you leave, they have this positive memory of you, right? They're in a good mood when you leave. Make sure you're asking questions at the end of it. Don't say, no, I don't have any, but I'll let you know. No, ask questions. Always, always, always ask questions. Okay, and then the 10th and final tip for this video is to send a thank you note. Yes, it's old-fashioned to do like actual cards and mailing it in. I love getting thank you notes that way, but if you don't have time to do that and you want to be quicker, send an email. But make sure you're personalizing it. So thank them for their time, for interviewing you. Say you really appreciated learning about X, Y, and Z. Remind them why you're a good fit if you'd like. And then let them know if they have any questions for you in the future, that they can always reach out. But try to personalize it, and remember something that you talked about with them that you could put in the email. So say you bonded over being a Yankees fan. Say, I really appreciated talking about the Yankees, but also about the position. Or just something small like that. That way they know you remembered something about them, and that's going to make a difference for you. So these are 10 interview tips, and I know you've heard a lot of these before, but I wanted to make sure that my viewers could click on this and remember some of these tips and tricks. If you have any other advice for people getting an interview or succeeding in an interview before, during, or after, leave them in the comments down below so we can interact with each other. And then if you have any questions about interviews that you've been wondering, let me know. Send me a message on Instagram or on Twitter or in the comments down below. But let me know, because I love nerding out over this stuff and talking about it. But until then, I will see you in my next video.